Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday's show with the fabulous, with me, the Lady Jaclyn, and then my co-host, the fabulous DearJames. I was going to be like, the fabulous Lady Jaclyn. Why not, right?
Absolutely.
Welcome, everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Wednesdays, like we always say, have become the new favorite days of the week, that midweek kind of exciting time where we all come together and we talk about what is happening in the energy frequencies. I am the Lady Jaclyn, your human design expert, and with me I have the fabulous DearJames, your intuitive guide, and together we combine the energies, we dive deep into conversations about what is happening, and most importantly, we take your questions live. Now, even if you're watching on the replay, give us a shout out in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. That is the way that we can see you. That's the way that we can connect with you. So give us a hello. Let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know if you're live on Facebook. Let us know if you're live on Instagram. I'm not Instagram yet. On Facebook and on YouTube. DearJames, hello. How are you?
I am wonderful, Jaclyn. Absolutely thrilled to be here as always. As one of our listeners and participants said, it's Wonderful Wednesday, and I just love being here with you. So this is always just such a thrill, and yes, the energies are big. They're giving us big themes for this year, for this week, and this moment. So it's just a thrill. And yes, it is the fabulous Lady Jaclyn.
I was having a laugh because I thought to myself, you know what, maybe that's also kind of to start the show to remind everyone that we have to be our biggest cheerleaders for ourselves, right? We kind of have to shout ourselves out first. We can't expect everyone else to. So maybe that was the universe already kind of saying, hey, remind everyone to be like, it's okay to say that you're fabulous.
Absolutely. That is absolutely right. We have to celebrate, and we got it, and to celebrate ourselves in a place of humility and fun is good. That's a good thing. And it's fun, right? Like we just did. It's like, hello.
Exactly.
We'll just continue to use the word fabulous because, yes.
Well, I think it sets the stage for kind of the energy that is already upon us, but not quite there yet, if you know what I mean? Like that fabulousness that's there. And I feel like it's almost like we're almost stepping into the fullness of that fabulousness, but we're just kind of like steps away.
Yes. And that, again, yes, that's that march, where we march forward in March. And this is that, not the training ground, but like the brewing moment. This is where all the ingredients are being, we're being melded and shaped and molded and things are being let go. And yet we're coming into the beauty of this empowerment, of this just really excitement, this fabulousness, and it's a perfect word. Little shout out to Lori. Hello from Illinois. I am back, of course. I wouldn't miss these wonderful Wednesdays. And Samantha adding, hi, wonderful Wednesdays with smiley faces. So yes, right back at you both. And again, for everybody listening, please send us a note in the messaging so that we know you're there. And if you have questions for us, we're taking your questions live throughout the show. So as Jaclyn said at the top of the show, please put them in the comments. And we'll come to them as we're moving through. But we're going to give you the weekly energies first. Yes.
You want to go ahead? Dive
Sure.
in. I can't wait to see what they have to say.
Oh my goodness. They were really good this morning. I sat down, as I always do, Jaclyn, I sit down right early in the morning before the show, and I just listen and I say, okay, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, the unseen, what do you want everyone to know? And so I'm going to put my specs on because I'm going to do a little bit of reading. But immediately I was looking at the date, and as you all know, numbers matter, everything matters, everything's energy. And so, of course, today is January 26th, 2022, and Mercury, it's a Wednesday, so we're always which is very interesting for Jaclyn and I, because here we are communicating, listening and receiving and in reciprocity with all of you. And Mercury it's Wednesdays. So there's a really beauty about Mercury the messenger and conveying that. But I honed in on the 26, 26. And I instantly knew to look up Hexagram 26. And so I want to give you the overall theme and then the main message, this whole main message. The overall theme is the dawn of a new era, a new way of being. That's the theme. The kind of nuts and bolts, the how, the main message, Hexagram 26, and of course a 26, 2 and 6 become an 8. So we're going to work with Hexagram 26, we're going to work with Hexagram 8. It becomes, January 26, 2022, becomes a 15. So here's 15 showing up again, which is Hexagram 15, which is about authenticity and humility. And then 1 and 5 become a 6. So Hexagram 6 showing up again, which is about spirit and service. It's about conflict. It's also about destiny. So let's jump in, Jaclyn. We're going to jump in with 26, and I'm going to read because it's just absolutely beautiful. 26 is about controlled power. Mm-hmm. Controlled power. Its hidden influence is propriety, and it's about marrying maidens, and it's about being helpless, if you will. And we'll come to that in a second. And then its underlining cause is 45, which is about gathering together. And when you see this, and you'll see about Hexagram 8, I just want to cover this really quickly. Hexagram 8 is about uniting. So we have controlled power, we have uniting, and the hidden influence of Hexagram 8 is 23. It's about splitting apart. You split apart in order to regenerate. And its underlining cause is 14, Hexagram 14, which is about great possessing, shine. So here we are talking about fabulous, fabulousness. And the whole piece of it, that the underlining piece is great possessing, to shine. So we are in a state, when you look at your own life, when you look at the state of the world, you can see where the need, this new way of being, is about controlled power. It is not about absolute or total power. It is not about running roughshod over yourself or others. It is about bringing it into a state of controlled power so as to unite via humility and authenticity, so as to shine and in essence receive our destiny, this beautiful destiny that it's promised, it's ours. Because the opposite of it is conflict. Hexagram 6 is about conflict. So you're either in a state of conflict, in a state of power, in a state of what was, not what is, and is what is, period. So I want to read to you because these are just beautiful. It says with Hexagram 26, controlled power, they said, your vital force is not wanting, only waiting for you to tap into it. We are told not to cross the bridge until we come to it. But this world is owned by those who crossed bridges in their imaginations far ahead of the crowd. That in and of itself, it's about imagine the world. We always say, be the world you want to live in. Well, this is what they're saying. Imagine it and it becomes reality. It becomes our truth. And so Hexagram 26 talks about true power need not be demonstrated as creative energy is restrained beneath the mountain of keeping still. Ta Chu focuses on the power of silence and stillness. And Jaclyn, we've talked about this in between, this melding period. And they're talking about keeping still in the power of silence and stillness. While others are running around demonstrating their power, one who is strong has no need to prove anything. Controlled power has propriety as its hidden influence because a will under the sheer steadiness of a mountain allows it to become incredibly powerful. There is also a need for timing in appropriate expression, We've been talking about this time when we will shine, and so here this need for timing in appropriate expression. Another's insecurity is no match for the power of silence. Since controlled power follows innocence, and we're talking about innocence, authenticity, purity, goodness, all that is learned from patience and non-action, and remember, non-action can be an action. It doesn't mean that we're doing nothing. It means we're listening. We are taking each step as we need to in the moment. And yet, that non-action, holding, waiting, is actionary. So non-action is now ready to be harnessed creatively. When the will is in the service of acceptance and the good of all this deliberate intent is unstoppable, the message we deliver is amplified because our inner truth radiates as the embodiment of Tao. Combining holding firm, holding steady, holding to heaven's way, the way, and nurturing others, this is the hexagram of the true sage. When water meets a dam, it continues to rise in power until it overwhelms whatever blocked its flow. If you renew your willingness to marry to your Tao daily, you become a reservoir for enormous creative expression that benefits all. We're not talking about benefiting one or benefiting self over others. We're talking about the benefits of all. You can draw on a power that need not be demonstrated, but is just so. Its simplicity makes everything easy. So when we just stand when you stand in the power and the empowerment of this humility, this authenticity, this grace, and you know that the way, is about controlled power. Controlled power, as it said, you don't need to demonstrate it. You don't need to run roughshod over yourself and yell and scream and holler and brutalize and do all these things. No, it just is. It's a self richness, and this is what they're talking about. And I want to jump to number 8 and see if I've got these lined up right. Yes. So 8 is uniting. Hexagram 8 is uniting. Split apart. Look at how splitting apart in our own lives, we may be going through great stripping, this kind of splitting apart. You and I talked, Jaclyn, in one of the shows about how this, the shadow stuff and all of the things about letting go of things, that's splitting apart. And look at how here in the US and look at the world, all of this with COVID, with work, with economies, with, shortages and supply chains and all this stuff, all this splitting apart. For what purpose? To regenerate. So whether it's in our personal lives or as we see it in the greater whole, its true purpose is to regenerate. Its true underlining cause is great possessing, to shine, for us to come into our newness, our new way. And it says, when you merge the world in here with the world out there, your destiny is revealed. And look at how number 8, infinity, and this piece of 6, the ultimate day, the ultimate number for the moment, is about destiny. And they said, we sleep, but the loom of life never stops. And the pattern which was weaving when the sun went down is weaving when it comes up tomorrow. It's a quote by Henry Ward Beecher. And this is the truth. It's an inside job. And what we're doing is looking to mirror the internal with the external so as to reveal our true destiny, our true being. And so there's one last thing I want to read, and then we will jump to it and discuss, Jaclyn, because it was just so rich. This whole thing was just so rich. Mm-hmm. And they, sorry, I'm just bouncing on my screen here for a moment. And where did it go? Oh, there it is. I skipped it. But I want to go back to this marrying maiden for a second, which is about 54. And this is about the helplessness part. So where we may be feeling helpless or we feel like things are happening to us as opposed to for us. But remember, this controlled power, this propriety, this marrying, mating, this helplessness is ultimately about coming together, uniting and shining, having a new way. And so with Hexagram 54, marrying maiden, it said, when a woman married in ancient China, she would be accompanied to her husband's house by her young sisters and female cousins. They became second wives with the duties of a wife, but without the status. The marrying maiden here is one of these second wives. Her life is suddenly, utterly changed, and the change is altogether beyond her control. Now, this is what's happening in a sense to all of us. We feel like it's all beyond our control. It's all happening and we're living through it. The marriage wasn't arranged with her in mind. She will have to find a way to fit into the new household, as she surely won't have any direct influence on the way it works. So you can see how, do we have a direct influence in what's happening in the overall world, in the overall great scheme of things? And they said, however, this hexagram is not just the story of any second wife. The fifth line reads, the Emperor Yi marries off the maiden. The first wife's sleeves were not so beautiful as the junior wife's sleeves. The moon almost full. Good fortune. Emperor Yi married his sisters to King Wen, sage and ancestor of the Zhou people, whose oracle this is. The beauty of the second wife's sleeves and the moon almost full are omens of what was to come. Tezi, the second wife, was raised to the status of first wife. She bore King Wen's son, Wu, who would overthrow the Shang and establish the Zhou dynasty. So in essence, she goes as a second wife, not knowing where she's going, not knowing how her life is. We are all going to a new way, a new world. It's uncertain, it's unknown, and we have to find our way. But ultimately, what was the sleeves of the first wife, this world that we're living in now, wasn't as beautiful as that of the second sister or the second wife. It's not, the sleeves of the new are far superior. They're more beautiful. And this new will bore the next reign of years, this beauty of us living in a whole new way that far surpasses what we've been doing. So here's the big messages. It's all about everything we've just covered. A dawn of a new era, a new way of being, controlled power with its purpose of uniting so as to shine. We do this with authenticity and humility so as to receive destiny. And then when I got there, I was like, wow, this is a lot, Jaclyn. Like, this is a lot. And all I heard, they spoke to me in French and they said, c'est tout fini. And that means in English, that's all, you're done. And they put an exclamation point and a smiley face on it. So I had to laugh because, well, there we are. Say to, they're like, that's enough. That's a big thing to talk about today. So there you are. Have fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, oh, is that it? Thanks.
Yeah, really. They were like, you don't need any more. That's pretty much everything in a nutshell. Have a nice day. Say tout fini. You're done. I'm like, okay, thanks.
It's so interesting because I was taking down notes while you were talking, and it's so in alignment, obviously. I mean, we can't make this stuff up every week with what, the gates are showing us within human design. What I want to do is I want to touch on, because I underlined a few words, keywords that you mentioned, and it's almost, there is definitely this energy with Venus going direct, and I think Venus is moving with Mars. Anyway, there's planetary shifts that are happening that is definitely calling for more collaboration, more connection, more coming together. And you started with gathering together, unity, right? And in order for that unity, that true unity to take place, there needs to be a bit of a splitting apart as well. Like if you think of relationships, So sometimes, maybe, I know myself personally, I went through a period for the last 2 years where I splitted apart from a lot of people. And at the time, I was like, oh, what's happening? Like, I'm not connecting with these people anymore. Or, oh, we're going into isolation. We're not able to connect with people anymore. And then I slowly but surely realized that actually, hold on, the universe is making space for my soul family. And that's what's happening with everyone right now. It's everyone that's coming into your life is designed to come into your life at this point in time to help you, to catapult you into the new that James is talking about, that newness, that fabulousness, that magic, that light, right? So that is the first thing that I think is so powerful, because even in business, and you're looking at like myself and James, how we've collaborated, how we've brought together this partnership. I've collaborated with other business owners as well. It's like everything is starting to kind of bring together, and especially because we've been in isolation, we've been ripped apart from one another for a good 2 years, that it's so beautiful to actually see how we're coming together in a way that's truly aligned with where we're headed, where we're designed to go. So that's the first thing. If you feel like maybe your soul family hasn't arrived yet, this is also just a reminder for you to know that it's coming. That if you're in a space right now where you're still feeling a little bit isolated or alone, just stay in the vibration of knowing that the universe is making space for the right people to connect with you. And then also, if you're looking at business, maybe think of a way that you can potentially bring more people in to create a collaboration, create a unity to actually catapult the impact that you're desiring to have. So that was the first thing. It also ties in beautifully with the sun that has been in the gate 41, and that is soon going to be changing the next day or two into the gate 19, which is also about, again, the togetherness, the sensitivity, knowing the other. That 41, though, speaks to dreaming and imagination, and that's what you also spoke about. You said, imagine it, right? Imagine it and it will be. So technically with human design, we actually start the new year on the 21st, 22nd of Jan. So the mandala wheel starts at gate 41 every single year. And that's so interesting, because if you think about how you're setting goals or resolutions, and potentially a lot of people fall off that bandwagon to say like the beginning of Jan, is because that energy is still in the old energy, and it's technically not that new year. So when I find this out, and I was like, oh, actually, the new year, the new energy actually starts towards the end of Jan, I was like, whoa, that releases the pressure of trying to, start everything in January, and kind of it rings true to what we've been saying, which is that February, March, right? And that's where the energy's been going. So it kind of like releases the pressure for everyone as well. So happy new year in human design to everyone, because we pretty much had a new, and I think it's also Chinese New Year now soon.
It's coming up, yes.
Yeah, it's also coming up. They're not on the 1st either. So beautiful, because we're technically starting off the new year, and if you think about the energy, it feels almost more fluid and I want to say in alignment to set your intentions now. So set your intentions, dream a dream that is big enough, that is going to keep you motivated and keep you pushing forward, right? That is what James is speaking about. Imagine it. What can you imagine right now? Does your dream matter to you enough for you to continue to pursue it? That's a really big question for you. While you're setting intentions, while you're setting that goal, right? Looking at the big overall dream, that soul's purpose that we spoke about last week. What is that soul's purpose? What is that passion? Right now, it's what is the intention that you can set? And we ended last week's show with setting an intention. Right now, it's going, is my dream big enough that is going to get me out of bed when I'm not feeling like it? It's going to keep me moving forward when things seemingly aren't going as planned. My plan, not the universe's plan, right? So is your dream big enough that it's going to keep you propelling you forward, right? It's all about imagination. It's all about dreaming a big enough dream. Then you spoke about elements of control, which is so beautiful, because it's like this dance between the masculine and the feminine. And you were speaking about, it's almost like action, inaction, that masculine, feminine, right? Because people are grappling with this. When do I go? When do I surrender and release and receive? Like, how do I actually do that? I feel like I'm not doing anything, therefore I'm not receiving anything. So it's really calling to, how are you trying to control the outcome of your dream, the how, the what, the when, the where, the all of the human aspects to it, rather than saying, I'm dreaming a dream, I'm trusting in the universal plan that is co-creating with me to put everything in place that I'm needing to tap into, or needing to connect with, or needing to know in order to make this a reality, to bring this into my material form, right? So very important. I actually even, I spoke about it today with clients, is the importance of knowing that it's not just about how much you do. Like, we've been so conditioned, right, in this life to just be like, you've got to do, you've got to make it happen, you've got to put in the work, you've got to put in the blood, sweat, and tears, you've got to take the action. It's exhausting just talking about it. There's a really, like for me as a projector, I'm like, please, where is the rest?
Where,
What is the nap time?
where's my vacation? I'm sorry, am I
Yeah.
not what?
Exactly, right? So it's this balance between both. It's the knowing that taking inspired action sometimes requires you to listen to your body, trust and know that taking a nap, or taking rest, or taking a time out, or going for a walk in nature, or being more mindful, getting off of social for an hour, that is also the work. And that's what you spoke about. You were like the non-action, the sitting in silence. It's not sitting on a mountain like, the Buddhists do to get enlightenment. It's going, actually, even if I'm not working in or on my business right now, I'm working on myself. That's the work. That's as powerful as me doing the action that everyone is talking about, like getting the clients, communicating, writing my marketing message, listening to my partner, feeding my kids, like looking after myself, trusting myself, honoring my own energy is as important as the work that you've already been doing. So that's just like part of the message that's definitely coming through. Let me just quickly see. There was one thing before I move into the new reminding everyone as well that Rome wasn't built in a day. It's literally like that progression, that mastery over time, that ability to know that it's like building the building blocks, right? It's like even if you we start off January and we're like, yes, we're going to get fit, we're going to get healthy, and we're going to start a new diet regime, and we go to the gym for like 4 weeks, and then we go, oh my gosh, we aren't seeing results. And then week 5, week 6, week 7, if you just continue, you would actually start seeing the results. That's exactly what they're asking you to do. It's to remind yourself that it's the journey and not the destination as well. Does that make sense so far?
Yes, absolutely, Jaclyn. And look at how everything you just talked about is about controlled power. Because the opposite, what you were talking about when it's like, go and you're doing it, da, 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 all that forcing and pushing and shoving and, that's roughshod. That's just raw power. This moment, the new, is about controlled power, and controlled power just is. And as you were talking, they were saying to me, look at the joy and the beauty, like as you and I were talking about, everything we've done, we're doing, all of the new show coming out tomorrow, everything, we're doing one step at a time. Each step is joy. It's not big, forceful, type activity. It's very calm, considerate, conscious, one step after the other, and yet joy. There's joy in it. There's fun in it. There's this, I went to bed last night saying my prayers, and I was just beaming. I was smiling. There was something that came over me, and it was just this piece of like, I'm so grateful, because even in all the chaos and the uncertainty, and there is this calm knowing, this joy. And that's what we're talking about here. This is what they're talking about. Tap into this controlled power. because the controlled power just is. It's aligned. You don't have to go do big, extravagant, bold, knock yourself out, type act. No, and look how that aligns with, we talked about that about New Year's, right? About that's not what this new is. It's not about, oh, I've made these and all of these, whatchamacallit, what is it? Resolutions and yada, yada, yada. No. This is about alignment from the inside out. It's about uniting yourself, and it's going to be us uniting, the world coming together. And how do we do it? We're going to do it in, and I loved that, heaven's way. I use the phrase the way. I love this, heaven's way. Because that's the way. Heaven's way is the way. All this other stuff is extraneous and loud and unnecessary, but unnecessary in the sense of splitting apart. It's got to go bye-bye. It's got to go away. Yeah. And this is where we are.
You know what's so interesting is that we talk every Wednesday, and I think sometimes people listen and then they go, oh, they make it sound so easy. And I laugh at myself because I watch the replays and I'm like, oh, that was a message I needed to hear, but okay. And then I go, and I had that exact experience of control the last week the difference was I had the awareness of it. So immediately I started, when things were seemingly not working out, or they weren't going quick enough, or I was feeling a bit frustrated or agitated, I was like, I want certainty. I want to know, like, when is this going to pan out? How is this going to work, right? And I caught myself and I'm like, okay, this is the control. This is me wanting to control the outcome. What is the lesson in here? The lesson is to remind myself that the universe is wanting to show me how the process actually works, which is surrender while taking inspired action. It's the balance. It's the dance of that masculine and feminine, because we need both. There's no one or the other. It is a mutual, beautiful, fluid dance of both masculine and feminine. I'm so excited that you mentioned for our show tomorrow, that's what we're going to be diving into, is that feminine energy, because I really do see people struggling with that, like struggling with the idea of grappling with the concept of releasing the control to try figure everything out, to know the next step, because we've been so conditioned. We've been so taught that we've got to have everything planned out, right? You've got to be meticulous. You've got to have a goal, and then you work back from there, and then you take inspired action and your consistency, and you do. And again, it's like tiring, it's exhausting, it's masculine energy, right? Where 2022 is calling us, the new is calling us to remind us to bring back the feminine, to dance with this idea of what is the truth. And the truth is, we've spoken about this, we all have what we need right now to get us to the next step. And the more you trust and surrender and have patience, the more the right answers come at the right time. And if you really look back and you're really honest with yourself, you can say, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, I've had moments this week where I was like, thank you, universe. Like, it worked out even better than I could have imagined, because I wouldn't have been able to cope with how I wanted it to be. Or, thank you so much, you saved me, like I was protected in that instance. Or, oh my gosh, you just give so much gratitude that you're actually not in control, because your ego takes a back seat.
Yes.
And your true authenticity and power takes a front seat, and it goes, okay, let's have fun. Let's have the human experience. Like, don't get me wrong.
Right.
I had tears.
Right.
I still experience those emotions. Like, we're human. That's part of what we signed in that contract, right? But it's so, like you said, you go to bed smiling. You have these moments of pure and utter joy. And I want to ask everyone who's listening right now, drop in the comments. Let us know, is there one element that brings so much joy to you right now? Think of the one thing that comes up into your mind that you just know that brings you joy. Like, for me, it's music. Like if I play my song that I feel like that I just know will get the juices flowing, it just immediately sparks joy. What is that one thing that you know that you can do, you can listen to, you can speak to, what is the one thing that brings you so much joy, so that you can remind yourself how you can quickly shift your vibration to move from control and then jump into joy.
And to move into really, because really what we're talking about is, hexagram 2 is receptive. It's receptive force. Hexagram 1 is creative force. So think of creative force as sun, power, creative force. And we have been, as you just articulated, we've been, programmed and told and shown, go, 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 go. Creative force, sun. And we are and masculine, and we are going to receptive force, receptive energy, moon, feminine. She is no less powerful than her counterpart. She simply uses her power in a controlled way. She's guided, she listens, she goes with the flow, she stands in her element and exudes wisdom, knowledge, grace, empowerment. She doesn't lack. So this is the shift. This is the dawn of a new era and a new way of being. It is going to be what we talk about tomorrow, exactly. Jaclyn, let's catch up on some of the comments coming in. And again, we're taking your questions live. So if you have issues that you're facing right now that you would like human design guidance and intuitive insights on, please put them in the comment section and we will address them throughout the show. Let's go to some of the, I think Ruar was the last comment that we...
So Nikki was joining us from the UK. And then Ian Jennifer Stanley says, hello to everybody. Samantha says, rest, recover, reset. Love this. Love both of you. So beautiful. Yay. Ian Jennifer Stanley's got a beautiful question. I'm going to read that in a second. Rourke says, thank you. I resonate 100%. Have been taking a couple of cat naps lately. Meantime, I've been procrastinating. Listen, that's a really big one, and that's exactly what we've been speaking about. And then Samantha says, reminds me of a song, Reunited, and it feels so good.
Yes. Beautiful song. Yes.
And then some good things that bring joy. I see Samantha says her puppy, creativity. Lori says meditation calms me and brings me in nature. And being in nature and brings a lot of joy and peace. You want to jump to Ian's question?
Actually, I want to jump to Rourke making his statement about being procrastinating, because there's a piece here where it's not so, yes, there can be procrastination. Okay. However, also be aware, be mindful of, again, is it active listening? Is it active stillness? If it's procrastinating, okay, it's procrastinating. But don't swing the pendulum so far that you're now in this creative force where you're kind of in a self-punishment. I've been procrastinating. I got to get out there and hit it. Because that's not this time. That's not this energy right now. That time will come, this forward advancement, as Jaclyn spoke at the top of the hour. Venus is going direct. Mars just entered Capricorn. North Node just entered Capricorn. Uranus is in Taurus. We have some things going on where things are shifting to earth signs. And earth signs meaning it's going to be tangible, and Mars is actionary. So here's action in an earth sign. Mars moving forward and Mars and Venus pairing up. There's a lot of these things that, like, as Jaclyn was speaking about. So realize, don't swing the pendulum to this hardcore power, rough power, creative force power, sun power. Right now, receptive power, controlled power, listening and acting step by step. Wallace D. Wattles again, small acts in great ways. Keep taking those steps, listen, so that as you move, because this is perfect, the difference between procrastinating or thinking that you're procrastinating versus am I just going about this in a receptive manner? Am I taking the necessary steps which will maybe feel a little foreign. They might feel slow and yet purposeful. If you're in alignment with taking the steps that you can take right now, you should feel joy. You should feel happiness. You should be able to see it, feel it. And again, it might be in small measure, small amount, but that's what this moment is, because they're setting the stage for us for this controlled power to be presented, not in an aggressive, abusive way. And look at the world stage. Look at what's happening. Russia, Ukraine, Europe, all of this aggression, power, raw power, patriarchal dominance. Everybody saber rattling. And then there's all of us that are going, why are we doing that? What is the benefit of doing it that way? Isn't there a better way? And what does that require? Oh, it requires me to come inside and listen. It requires me to come to the table as an adult, as a human being with a level of beauty and consciousness and say, okay, come on, gang. It's 2022. We can work this out. We can use our controlled power. We can come to resolution. We can come to an even better outcome. We just have to be willing to.
It's so beautiful because it actually goes into the energy of what we're stepping into with the sun and the gate 19. With the 19 is the sensitivity, but it's like a deep understanding for others. But it's actually like the energy or the experience of stepping into other people's shoes and understanding and having compassion and a sense of empathy for what they potentially are going through, and connecting with them on a deeper level so that you can kind of transcend the limitation and get to a resolution. And that's what you're speaking about. So it's like also looking at how are you connecting with people at this point in time, looking at the relationships that you're connecting with. Are you connecting on a deep emotional level? And if not, you might not want to invest your time in there. And so you're protecting yourself and you're actually moving your energy elsewhere. It doesn't mean that the relationship necessarily has to end. It just means you're shifting and letting go of the need to control the outcome and having the expectation, and kind of just shifting and going, where do I feel energetically connected? Where can I empathize with another person and what they're going through? How can we all kind of come together, help each other, support what resources are needed in order to flourish, to be successful? How can we create new and innovative ways of